Hello farmer friends, my name is Brittney Portes, and this past year I have been traveling across the United States exploring farming via WWOOF. Today I'm going to share my experience woofing as a queer woman and share some tips on how I've had positive experiences while woofing. So a little fun fact about me, a year ago I actually didn't identify as queer, and coincidentally I was starting my solo female travel journey, my farming career, and when I just started looking for woof hosts, I was just looking for a farm that was close in my area, and that happened to be an LGBTQ plus operated farm. In my time woofing there, the host of the farm truly, while I never talked about my sexuality there, I was so inspired by their mentorship, their ability to teach, their love for creating self-sustaining communities, and just their overall welcomeness and loving for people of all walks of life who come onto their farm. And you see, in that 1 week experience alone, that was enough to get me hooked on woofing and thinking to myself that wow, this is what I want to do. This is a community that I feel welcomed and so grateful to be a part of. And going forward, I decided to look for more long-term woofing opportunities. And also, similarly, I got very lucky where someone had recommended that I visit a farm out on the North Shore. That farm was also LGBTQ plus operated, and well, it was here on the North Shore where I was once again surrounded in a community of queer farmers, queer farm hands, mentors, and just overall the community I live with. I realized more than half the house I was living with identified as queer. I think it was just for the first time in my life I had been around so many people who were openly proud and loving of the fact of their identity and able to own and live their truth. I think what's so interesting too about my woofing journey is that I had never sought out woofing at queer operated farms, but it was something that just kind of kept finding me and aligning with me. And the more experiences I had at LGBTQ plus operated farms, the more I felt comfortable in my own skin, in my own identity. And I think that's what's really great about farming and woofing, and finding other communities of people who have had similar experiences to you, are able to share their lessons well beyond farming and agriculture. And being able to combine those two worlds together has truly been really inspirational for me, and hopefully able to share that there are so many different types of communities out there for different types of people. I really am so grateful for WWOOF because it has just connected me with people from all walks of life, different perspectives, different communities, and has really helped enrich my life, my learning experiences, and has helped me live in my truth and own the fact that yes, I too am queer. And of course, WWOOF is not only for the queers. It's a community of farmers who are educators, learners, people who are curious, people who come from all walks of life. It's really a way to bridge community together. And that to me is what's so inspiring about so many of my woofing experiences. But what I'm going to do next is share my top 3 tips for woofing as a queer individual. The most important tip number 1, if you are interested in mentorship opportunities from LGBTQ plus operated farms, lucky for you, WWOOF has an LGBTQ plus operated filter. So what you're gonna do is go on the WWOOF USA website, and then you're gonna go to the Find a Host. You're also then going to click on More Filters. Under host type, select LGBTQ plus operated. And I currently did this search today, and there are currently 88 farms in the WWOOF USA directory that identify as LGBTQ plus operated. That's huge because that number is growing every single day. And this kind of segues now into tip number 2. With tip number 2, now just literally going into the search bar under Find a Host and writing LGBTQ. With this, oftentimes there are hosts who are allies or are LGBTQ operated, also will put that in their profile, and it just searches that word in the directory for people who might have that somewhere in their profile. And when I looked up that tip, I got 113 hosts who have LGBTQ somewhere along in their profile. And then tip number 3 is to just be upfront and ask. Honestly, I prefer to look for hosts that have the skill sets that I want to learn, whether that be working on a vineyard, learning on a biodynamic farm, or learning natural building processes. I am really interested in honing my personal skill sets to be able to build and uplift the community and be a part of creating a self-sustaining community one day. And that being said, I have woofed at hetero-operated farms, and there's still so many great hosts out there that might not identify as queer, but are just as supportive. And I've often found, even I will have sometimes Zoom interviews, and I will ask just straight up questions. I will ask about, what's the queer community like in your area? Is there a supportive queer community? Is it a place where I can feel safe showing up in my identity, especially as a queer woman of color? Those are all questions that I ask, and I'd rather be upfront with hosts and know their true opinions before I get myself in a situation where I might not feel comfortable. And that being said, you know, going and having a Zoom call, like a face-to-face interaction, is so important, because to me, at the end of the day, the most important part about having a good WWOOF experience is making sure you feel comfortable with the host you're about to spend a certain amount of time with. And I think comfortability is such a range, and really going with your gut feeling. And just something that I really love about WWOOF is that I truly believe that it is a community that is growing, that is learning, that is supportive of people from all walks of life. That I have made so many queer WWOOfer friends myself, queer host friends, and you know, that every farm I travel to, my network expands. My network and comfortability with myself expands. My love for people and life and learning expands. And if you're more interested in learning how to find the best WWOOF farm for you, I recommend that you check out my video that I will put somewhere over here or up here, which is called How to Pick the Best WWOOF Farm for You, which I go really into detail about how I go about selecting the best WWOOF farms for me. So hopefully you too can have a positive WWOOFing experience. That's all today, my queer friends, allies, farmer friends, and I just want to thank each of you for watching and subscribing to my channel. It means so much to me, and thank you so much for your continued support on my WWOOFing and traveling journey across the United States. Thanks guys, see you next week.